Hey there, Wall Street winners. Tuesday, June 25th, and we are pre-market today. Looking at the futures, we can see that we are up in the NASDAQ. That is primarily getting pulled up thanks to NVDA recovering from the small correction that it has taken over the last couple of days. The S&P 500 is up and the Dow is in the red. If we flip over to our Yahoo Finance app, what we'll see here on the top is that crude is off 40 cents, but it is starting to recover. And we have obviously the futures for the NASDAQ up and the VIX around 13.5. As we scroll down through our list of stocks that we watch, we can see that there's a little bit of activity today in health and retail, but it's a bit of a mixed bag. Lululemon is up about 260 pre-market, starting to recover. We see here that it's obviously been hit fairly significantly over the last 6 months and is kind of near all-time lows for the last 6 months. If we look at it from a year standpoint, it's down for the year, and over the 5-year, it's really tracking back to where it was in 2019 and 2022. So it could be a decent entry point there as it starts to recover, should that sector of retail recover. Then we go down to healthcare. Nothing's really happening significantly in healthcare. We do have earnings coming out for Nike later this week, and Nike's sitting in the 97 range. I'd be looking to pick up some Nike if this dropped pre-earnings, thinking that the earnings from Nike are going to be positive. Certainly looking for an options play on Nike, looking to buy, say, a $95 in the money call option for March or April of 2025. So about half a year out, a little more than half a year out, and assuming that the trend for Nike will be positive into the holiday and Christmas season, and that will show up in the earnings report in the new year, in Q1 of the new year, and that should pull it above, certainly above 95, but hopefully above 100 and 105, and put that into the money. JB Hunt is one that I've been looking at extensively and following and buying into and selling out of in the last couple of weeks. It is down near a relative low for the last month, and if we look at this over the last year, we can see that it's certainly at a low for the year. A lot of potential prospects here. It does have a high PE ratio, so that's something to consider. However, it's trading within an envelope, and I love stocks that trade within an envelope because once they dip to the low end of that envelope, becomes a great value purchase, and it doesn't take long for that stock to pop back up into the higher portions of that envelope, and then you can exit and then just wait for that sequence to occur again and rinse and repeat. So you can see here that's been occurring. It's been jumping and dipping and jumping and dipping. As long as you sell when you hit the percentage return you're looking for, and again, I'm just looking for a 0.5 to 1% on a bump, and if I can get more than that, great, and I just try to avoid it going down more than 0.5 or 1%. So obviously if it does, I will tend to hold it and not take the loss and then wait for it to come back up, but that becomes more of a swing trade than a day trade. If we look at the 5-day chart here, you can see that it's got some patterns it seems to be following, where on open it either pops and then drops and continues to fall for the remainder of the day with some minor pops, or it drops at the beginning of the day and then jumps about the 10:05 time in the day and then can platform or kind of plateau and then will fall at the end of the day. So you want to get out at the plateau. And some days it'll pop right up after a dip, like on Monday. It dropped on Monday yesterday and then popped up, and it was about a $3.50 difference there. So these are the kind of spreads I'm looking for, and I'm looking to see whether JB Hunt drops today at open. And if it does, then I would probably pick some of that up and look for it to rebound. So a $2 movement in that's a good size movement in that stock. I think now that crude's starting to recover for the day, I think we could see that crude come into the green and into the positive today. And if we do, I think it's going to be a good day for oil stocks. You can see a bit of a mixed bag. Most of them have gone into the red here in the pre-market with crude being down, but I think that's going to change. So if we did see Valero open down 63 cents in the low 150s, I think there's a chance that that can get up to 152, 153 today. And again, that's a nice little $2 to $3 potential pop in that. You can see that CrowdStrike has started to come back a little. I think this is just the NASDAQ pulling back with NVDA as a whole and some of the semis over the last couple of days, but we're starting to see that pattern shift, and we're starting to see some activity, forward momentum in the semis again, and that should lift most of the NASDAQ stocks. You can see a lot of these in the green starting the day. One of the ones that's been recovering quietly behind the scenes without a lot of fanfare is Cloudflare. Cloudflare being one of those cybersecurity firms that we follow, and it is starting to recover from the low 70s up to the high 70s, even into the low 80s. This stock should be a $90 to $110 stock by the end of the year, assuming that their earnings and revenue hit and continue to exceed expectations. We had a bit of a hiccup in the last quarterly results, but I think that's going to change as we move through the remainder of the year. You can see that Microsoft is up near an all-time high at 447. It looks like it's going to continue to be in the green today based on pre-market numbers. AMD, your onsemi, other semiconductors, Qualcomm, all in the green. Broadcom in the green going into the day. Lam Research in the green, not a significant amount, but it is still in the green. The narrative around Tesla, as I talked about yesterday, seems to be shifting towards the positive, so we're seeing some forward momentum in that. And then Meta. Meta, again, a darling of mine. I love Meta. Meta went up into the low 500s yesterday. It was down at 494, I think, when it opened, and then popped up, got out of that in the low 500s, and then bought back in at 494 throughout the day towards the end of market, probably between 2 and 3 o'clock yesterday, and it closed up at 498. If it drops again at open, wait to see where that kind of bottoms out. There might be a great entry point in the low 490s, and it should recover very quickly within to the low 500s. We've got NVIDIA up almost $4 pre-market, and that is what is helping to lift the market. Google up at almost 81, looking to open in the 181s. That is an incredible stock. I do think it's going to pull back into the 170s, so I'm holding off on that, waiting at an entry point. We've got Adobe recovering, and then we move down to the financials. And the financials have had some great positive movement. Yesterday was pretty much green across the screen for these. SoFi, one of our favorites, went up 22 cents. That's a huge percentage gain there of 3.5%. So great entry point at this point in my mind, but certainly in the last couple of days. And then we've got JP Morgan. It had a good day yesterday. Goldman had a phenomenal day yesterday and is off a little bit. I don't think I'd be buying into Goldman at the 460s, but if it drops down into the 440s, definitely an attractive entry point, with the big financials really leading the start of the next earnings season's announcements coming in July. So that's where we are. Good luck with your trades today. I hope your trades are successful and you're making money based on our trading methodology. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, leave me a like and a comment.